What's up, guys, and welcome back to another man versus deer video. In today's video, we're taking some TSS rounds and we're doing a comparison. We're going to compare Federal versus Browning and see which TSS round gives you more bang for your buck. Let's jump into it.
This is probably one of my bigger bucks to date.
Guys, I cannot believe that actually worked.
Looks like a double long shot.
It was hot, really hot. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely like the video, and for sure leave a comment if you like what I'm doing or if you have any questions by the time the video is over. So like I said earlier, today we are comparing some TSS rounds. I got Federal and I got Browning, and we're gonna see how they stack up. Full disclosure here, the Browning is 7 and 9 shot, and the Federal is just 9 shot. I could not find the Browning in just 9 shot. I'm not even sure that they make it. And if they do make it, I couldn't find it. But that's as close as I could get for a like-for-like comparison. And we're gonna see how these two stack up. All right, guys, so the equipment we're gonna be using for today's test is a Mossberg 930. This is my tried and true turkey gun. I really love this thing. I actually killed a few birds with it last season. I'm gonna put those videos in the description below. But we're using a Mossberg 930. I've got it equipped with a Burris RT1 red dot, and then I've got a Jebs 6.5 choke on it. This thing is mean. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the targets and we're gonna set them at 20, we're gonna set them at 40, and we're gonna set them at 60 yards, and we're gonna see how these shells compare with each other. All right, guys, so I got this target set up at 20 yards. I brought a rangefinder to make sure the yardage is super accurate. We're also using a rest. I've got a table, I've got a seat, so we're gonna be super solid. These shots should be about as perfect as I can get them. And it's gonna give us a really good idea of what these shells do. So I'm gonna do 20, 40, and 60, and I'm gonna always do Federal first, then Browning. We're gonna kick this off with the Federal TSS, 20 yards. All right, next up, we got the Browning TSS, 7 and 9 shot, 20 yards. All right, next up, we got the Federal TSS at 40 yards. I made extra sure by using the rangefinder that that yardage was accurate. Let's see what these things do. All right, next up, we got the Browning TSS, same distance, 40 yards. All right, we're on to the last and final one. Got the target set up at 60 yards. Got it verified with the rangefinder. I'm gonna aim at the top of the head. The 40 was still dead on as far as like up and down, but I have a feeling it may start to drop now, so I'm gonna aim towards the top of the head. And this is Federal TSS at 60 yards. Okay, last of the Mohicans. This is the Browning TSS at 60 yards. Just like I thought, that pattern was starting to drop a little bit, so same thing. I'm gonna aim at the top of the head on this one, just like I did on the last one. All right, guys, so that concludes today's testing. I'm not biased towards one or the other. Simply doing this test just to see what the results are. It seems like a hot topic every time turkey season rolls around is which round is best, which choke is best. So this is hopefully to alleviate some of those concerns. But I'm gonna hold up the Federal in this hand and the Browning on this hand, and I'm just gonna go 20, 40, 60 and let you guys see the results side by side. I think the results will speak for themselves, but I do think we had a clear winner, which I'll give my thoughts of at the end of this. So we got the Federal in this hand, we got the Browning in this hand. This is 20 yards. I don't think you could go wrong with either one of these, although I do think Federal, and this is probably because Federal is all 9-shot and Browning is 7 and 9-shot. The Federal does look like it has more pellets in the kill area, even though both of these are plenty to kill a turkey at 20 yards. But if we're going on technicalities, because it has more BBs in the shell, I think the Federal won the 20s. All right, moving on to the 40s. This is your Federal, this is your Browning. And again, the Federal takes the cake a little bit on this one. The pattern, if you look at this one, seems like I maybe shot off or something like that, which maybe I did slightly, but if you look at the back of these, it's not as misleading as the front, because the yellow in the front makes you feel like the shot is off when it really wasn't, or if it was, it wasn't that bad. But again, I think the Federal pulled just a little bit ahead at the 40, even though, and I'll say this again, both of these are plenty good enough to kill a turkey at 40 yards. All right, and we're on to the last of them. This is the Federal at 60, and this is the Browning at 60. And these two pictures speak for themselves. I'm gonna flip them around back here so you can see and not be misled by those little yellow pellets. I do think the shot on these dropped just a little bit, so there's probably a few BBs that didn't hit the target, but the Federal is the clear winner at 60. And I have to note that I was aiming at the top of the head on both of these. So if you're gonna shoot a turkey at 60 yards, make sure that you aim high, because there is some significant droppage. I even aimed at the top of the head on these, and the bulk of the pattern is still way below at the base of the neck. So I would aim a couple inches above the head if I was gonna shoot a turkey at 60 yards. And when I sighted my shotgun in, was dead on at 30. I mean, perfect. Side to side, up and down, it was perfect at 30 yards. And I'm shooting way low at 60, even by aiming at the top of the head. So if you were gonna take a shot that far, which most people don't recommend, but hey, there's situations, right? Make sure you aim high. Just because I had them on hand, I went ahead and threw a few longbeards in there. I had 2 extra targets, and I had some longbeard shells, and I didn't want to burn any more of my TSS shells. So this is the Longbeard XR at 60, which I think is very comparable to the Browning, and this is the Longbeard XR at 40. I probably would not take a shot at a turkey with Longbeard at 60. I definitely would take one with Longbeard at 40. This is plenty to kill a turkey, and the pattern dropped a little bit on it too. So I was aiming middle of the neck on this. I probably should have aimed a little bit higher on the head, and that pattern would have been even better. But just threw these in here because I had them laying around. All right, so my closing thoughts on everything. I do think the Federal TSS is a clear winner. I would have liked to have compared apples to apples and shot 9-shot versus 9-shot, but Browning just, if they did make it, I couldn't find it, but I couldn't see where they had just 9-shot for sale. So it was 9 and 7-shot. That means that the Federals had a lot more BBs in the shell than the Brownings did, and for that reason, I think they outperformed them pretty handedly, especially out at the more distance yardage, and they're priced very, very similarly. So in my opinion, and my opinion isn't the only one out there, maybe there's a different shotgun or a different choke where you would see different results, but in my opinion, through my setup based on what I shot, I think for that price, the Federals are a no-brainer. With that being said, I typically run Longbeard XRs. I don't like shooting turkeys at 60 yards, and the Longbeards treat me well out to 40 and even 50 yards. So that's what I primarily stick with, but hopefully you guys found some value in this testing. I did a turkey video last year, and people were very, very critical of the way I did the test. I threw in a lot more controllables this year. I used a table, I used a bench, I used a seat, I used a red dot, I used a rangefinder. Every controllable that I had access to, I used. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the channel. I got about $100 in testing in these shells and targets and everything, so it just means the world to me if I got a subscription from you. Make sure you like the video. If you have any comments or questions, drop them below. I answer every one of them, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I really appreciate you watching.